All right. Hi, everybody, for joining us today. We're just going to give it about 20, 30 seconds for any attendees to tune in and join us and get going. Great fun today. We're actually going to live broadcast as well on our Facebook channel. And this is going to be recorded, so it's available in the future for all of you data and small business support junkies that want to go back and revisit this or learn a little bit more. All right. Well, I am Danielle Casey, the president and CEO of Albuquerque Economic Development. So, just a little bit of housekeeping to get everybody going today. If you have any technical issues or general questions, just use that chat function at the bottom of your screen. I'm sure everybody is such a Zoom expert at this point that it is like second nature and you can do it with your eyes closed, but reminders never hurt. If you have any specific questions for myself or for our special guest today, please put that in the Q&A section. If for any reason we don't get to your question, we can follow up later, or we can get a better sense of the questions being asked and be able to save those. So we're thrilled today to be able to host our third training session, not necessarily the last, depending on demand, but our third in pre-planned sessions on a brand new tool that is hosted on the AED website. And this is a free resource for businesses as well as business support professionals. We have one of them here with us today across the entire greater Albuquerque region. The software powering SizeUp ABQ actually won the first place award from the United States Department of Commerce for a business app that helps American businesses be more competitive, improve their success, foster prosperity, and of course, create more jobs, which we are all fans of. Access to this powerful resource across the region is made possible as well. I have to give a shout out to the Albuquerque Forward Fund. It is in turn, again, also been supported by generous donors, and the Albuquerque Forward Fund is actually a 501c3 nonprofit, and it works to educate employers and connect them to resources they need in order to innovate, expand, and thrive. Empowers the region by conducting and publishing research on the region's workforce, employment data, industry trends, and economic outlook. And of course, it therefore expands the mission of AED. So again, we're tremendously thankful and appreciative for Albuquerque Forward Fund. So this tool is really exactly the type of resource and service that the Forward Fund was designed to deliver and provide to the business community, right? It's a resource that empowers them. And there's really no time more critical to do this than as we start looking toward, what the next new normal is going to be like. And I'd say we're even far down the path of thinking about those things, right? How are we going to get out of this pandemic very quickly and rapidly and make sure that we are poised for success with all the critical and creative tools possible? So again, SizeUp provides, and we're going to show a little demo later and answer any questions anyone has, but it provides really interesting data analysis sets that answer questions like it allows businesses to do comparative analyses. So companies can see how they stack up to the competition. We're going to demo that later. They can also identify target customers as well as local suppliers and competitors. And it also gives them information offering key insights on the best places, for example, to advertise. Is there a certain zip code or a circular or a part or a place in the community that's going to get you the best bang for your buck? And this week in particular is a very especially important one to us and to everyone, especially our guest today. It is National Small Business Week. Small businesses are essential to our economic health. I've spent a lot of time in my past professional life working on the local level as well, and I definitely can attest to the fact that really 99% of businesses out there can be classified as small businesses. They create 425% more net new jobs than large corporations, and locally owned businesses contribute more to the economy through the economic multiplier effect, especially if they are locally owned as well. Half of the national GDP actually comes from small businesses. And then finally, new businesses are currently starting right now at a faster rate than any time in the last 15 years, which is really wild to think about in terms of what's gone on with the impacts of COVID. So there are many, many amazing organizations, partners, and experts in our state and region working tirelessly to support all sizes and shapes of businesses. And I would love to have every one of them here today, but I'm really thrilled to have one very special one in particular that I had the opportunity to meet and get to tour facilities and learn about the great work they're doing. So today, help me welcome Gabriela She is a passionate champion for disadvantaged small and minority businesses. She brings expertise in business development, program implementation, and commercial lending throughout New Mexico in her role as the director of the New Mexico Minority Business Development Agency Business Center. I hope I got all that right. It's a lot of words and I need some water. But Gabriela previously worked for 7 years at DreamSpring. And this is an award-winning microfinancing organization. As market manager and senior loan officer, she led the lending team in New Mexico and Nevada. This is complex work and really, shows a deep depth and breadth of understanding how businesses operate. She worked to remove barriers to access to capital and develop strategic partnerships. Born and raised in Brazil, she moved to California to pursue her university studies and then fell deeply in love with I added the deeply out of your bio, deeply in love with New Mexico close to a decade ago. She received her bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley, very impressive, and also has a master's degree in international affairs from the University of California, San Diego. So with that, she's going to share a little bit more about the work she is doing and her center. Gabriela, we're going to give you the reins to show us a few slides and talk to us. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here and to be celebrating National Small Business Week together. So great. So I will share my screen. I'll do a brief presentation of the Minority Business Development Agency. And yes, it is a very lengthy name, but we are just happy to be present in the community again. So I will share. So the U.S. Department of Commerce in the late 70s started this fund to support minority-owned companies across the country. And there's 36 business centers. And New Mexico had a center for many, many years. And then when there was a lapse, and we just reopened doors in December 2020. So we are so excited to be back and supporting this, providing this great support to the small business community and minority business community here in the state of New Mexico. So what's sharing in the slides, it's talking about how our center really provides minority-owned businesses with support with technical assistance, access to capital, access to contracts, and new markets as well. So the MBDA, which is obviously abbreviation for Minority Business Development Agency, is working on behalf of 11 million minority-owned companies across the country. And we are here to empower and help those businesses grow, and to also support those companies create more jobs and retain the jobs here in the state of New Mexico and in the greater Albuquerque community. So we have a little bit of description here. What are the types of what is considered a minority-owned company? And this is per the U.S. Department of Commerce. I get a lot of questions. Is a women-owned company considered minority? Per the U.S. Department of Commerce, it is not, but African Americans, Asian Americans, Hasidic Jews, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, and Pacific Islanders are. And we are so excited to support them. I will share that the Minority Business Development Agency is really focusing on mid-sized companies. So that would mean revenues of $500,000 and above, but we do not exclude anyone from attending any of the workshops and events that we have. We have many, about 1 or 2 a month. So upcoming, we are going to have a procurement series. So it's a 6-week series helping businesses become ready for business and government contracts. For example, one of the many opportunities that we offer workshops on how to have your self-certifications from the SBA, so women-owned, Hub Zone, 8A. We also provide workshops on other topics as well. For example, we just had one on social media marketing for minority-owned companies. So many, many opportunities. And our center does focus on a few industries, which are listed here in the slide, aligning with the mayor's priorities. So biosciences, energy, defense, construction, everything that's listed. But we are not exclusive. So feel free to give us a call and we will help connect you to the best resource if it is about access to capital, or connect or helping you doing one-on-one consulting about next steps to grow the company. So a little bit more about the work of MBDA for the past about 50 years at this point. So really MBDA and minority-owned companies are employing over 6 million individuals and generating close to $2 trillion in revenue annually. So we really want to support those companies. and how amazing that we have the access of this tool that Albuquerque Economic Development now has accessible to all community members, where you can learn more about the markets and understand the competition, think about if you want to open a second location, where does it make more sense? Or if you're not from this community and want to move in your first spot here, what is the best location, and understand competition. So a little bit more about the resources that we do offer, helping companies navigate through the access to capital. So important, especially now with the many possibilities through CARES Act funding and now the American Rescue Plan with PPP and CARES, and now the RRF, so Restaurant Revitalization Fund. So we're helping companies work through that, and then connecting them with local lenders also if they're looking for funding for commercial real estate, for example, or for hiring more employees now that we are back into a turquoise standard here in the city of Albuquerque. Also helping with access to contracts, so connecting them to procurement officers at all different levels, city, county, state, federal, and at different companies as well, making sure that we are supporting these minority-owned companies. So one initiative from the MBDA that we're starting is for our clients, we're having like a spotlight event, which is basically we are inviting a buyer, for example, Department of Technology and Innovation with the city of Albuquerque, and they're going to be sharing with about 10 to 15 of our clients what are they looking for the next year, what are the forecasts, what are the opportunities. That way they can align, those companies can align with those needs and be able to provide that service. So we're going to be doing that at least once a month, and maybe we're going to try to actually do it twice a month. And then access to new markets. So MBDA, as I was sharing, we are a part of a network of 36 business centers and then also specialty centers. So that actually adds to over 40 centers across the country. So if a business is thinking about growing into Colorado or Texas or Washington, D.C., we'll be happy to connect you to our MBDA partners in those states and connect you to the right folks to help you grow the business. A little bit more information there. And I want to talk about our strategic partners. So the city of Albuquerque Economic Development Department is the operator of this grant and for the MBDA Business Center. And we applied with it in partnership with West Enterprise, the Hispano Chamber, and Arrowhead at NMSU that are amazing partners and are providing many, many great opportunities for training and workshops and the procurement series that I was just mentioning before. So if you'd like to have more information about the Minority Business Development Agency, I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. You can go to our website where you can see all the events that are coming up, or feel free to just give us a call or email and we can set up something quickly. And I see some chats. I don't know if there's any questions for me. No, very good.
I love it. You know, that's wonderful information. I've been throwing in the, that I put in the link to your site and some other information. And also a reminder to our participants today that are watching that if they have a certain industry or company they want us to explore in the tool, to let us know so that we can come up with ideas. Otherwise, I'm going to make some up. So, so we'll have to figure that out. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. That's excellent information. And I've got to say, you know, AED is in its process of creating a strategic plan to really define the work that we do as an organization, not necessarily, you know, they stipulate everything everyone does in the region, but really the work we're going to do can contribute to and drive the regional economy. And one of the things that we're doing as part of that is identifying the ecosystem out there, you know, because what we don't want to do is duplicate really wonderful efforts that are already going on, but make sure that we're all equally experts on great resources around the community. So again, I was just really thrilled, pleased, and honored to learn about all the work you're doing and have a great place to reference folks that are looking for those types of services. So we're excited for that to continue going. So with that, I'm going to share a screen here. Oh, thank you, Elena. First of all, anybody that's watching this, whether it's live, recorded, online, in any other shape or form, you can, oh, cool. All right, I've got a mechanical contractor. Well, this is great. We may actually promote Shasta up. We've got a guinea pig here, getting ready. But anyone, you can either go directly online to abq.org/SizeUp, or you can hold the, if you just want to be lazy and not even type it in, you can hold the camera on your phone up to that orange URL, QR code. Elena keeps making these fancy QR codes for us. and then it'll take you straight to the page. So Gabriela, if you want to hang out with me just for a minute to walk through some of these fun experiments, maybe you can challenge the tool a little bit and we can talk through it. Okay, so it looks like we do have a guinea pig. So we're going to have Shasta here with us, and I'm actually going to allow Shasta to talk. So I'm putting you on the spot. You do not have to go on camera or unmute, but if you want, you can. Shasta, so there you go. You're here with us now. You've been promoted. Welcome and thanks for coming today. I love doing this. This is all very off the cuff. So I'm going to go ahead and Elena take over, and I'm going to share my screen really quickly. And I'm going to share with everybody what's going on over here with SizeUp ABQ. That is not what I want to show. Stop the screen. Sorry. Thought I was so much better than I was. All right, let's do the correct screen. Here we go. All right, so everyone should be able to see this wonderful page, which is the SizeUp landing page on our website. So hopefully if you have any problems seeing this, let us know. But if you go to, again, abq.org/sizeup, it's going to take you straight to this page. So kind of hard to miss. And I've just gotten rid of the toolbar on top, so we have a cleaner view today if it looks a little funny to you. But it tells you a little bit about the tool. If you do ever get stuck using the tool or are curious or have a question, do not be shy. Feel free to ping our business development team. And if we can't answer it, we can talk to the vendor who actually built this really amazing tool that's been deployed actually in hundreds and hundreds of communities around the country. If you do need some additional resources, over here on the right, our previous programs and then today's program will also be added here. So you can watch these if you're trying to find a way to get to sleep at night or want a little bit more info or want to get back to a tool or an idea in the past. And then we kind of have an overview video down here on what it's all about. All right. So going back to kind of the first step in using this tool, and again, you can always go back and change these different parameters really at any point. One thing I like to point out with everybody, you do not have to sign in. You do not have to give up any personal information to use this tool. The sign in button is only there if you want to create a profile so you can save your work and save all of your parameters to come back later, but it's nothing we monitor and it's no data that we utilize or share in any way. So I just like to disclose that to everybody. So, all right, so going back to that awesome little opportunity we have, a mechanical contractor for Miller Bonded. So I may have to ask more questions, or I may need you to tell us a little bit more about what you're doing. But let's first, oh my goodness. So the cool thing is I'm really thrilled that mechanical contractors comes right up, and really in any industry out there is going to show up. Mechanical contractors, you could go for, I don't know, let's see, we could do hair care products, hair salons. We could do, not that I'm in the mood for a tattoo today, you never know, but you could do that. Really, the world is your oyster, even down to if you were looking for software development or computer software wholesale. So again, a really wide range. But since we got a guinea pig to come on board with us today, we're going to go with mechanical contractors. Shasta, can you tell me what city in our region are you looking at in particular? And you can shout it out or type it in.
We could go ahead and just go with Albuquerque for now.
Let's go with Albuquerque. Cool. Thank you. And thanks again for being here. So you can see as I type this in, the nice thing is you can look at this from the perspective of any location within our 4-county region. So that's the data set that we have. So we'll start with Albuquerque and we're going to hit save. And now this tool is going to blow out for us and provide you with probably more information than you could ever possibly hope to want. And I'll tell you, it can even be a little bit overwhelming at sometimes with the amount of data that's in this tool. But I'm just going to cruise down here. So there's 2 ways of using this data, and we're going to just walk through these 4 different tabs today. So first, you can look at your business and you can compare yourself to industry competitors. So Shasta, do you have a revenue amount? I can always make one up, but let's say a revenue amount that is either your kind of your annual revenue that you're seeing or what you're thinking you should see.
I'll just embellish the truth here just for the fun of it. Let's go with $40 million.
Love it. So if we're looking at, let me make sure I typed that right. Yeah, 40 million. Okay, so you are really kicking butt at 40 million compared to everybody else. So let's go maybe down to, just for kicks, let's go down to, I don't know, 8 million, or not 80, 8. I just went completely off the charts. All right, so that's still a little high, again, compared to others in your industry in this market. So even if you're embellishing, significantly, you're doing pretty darn good. So what this is going to show you is in these regions. So this is important to point out to everybody. Make sure you look at these labels on the left. So this is compared to other businesses in the city of Albuquerque, the county of Bernalillo, the metro of Greater Albuquerque, the state, and the nation. So it gives you an idea of where everybody else generally is. So really for mechanical contractors, they're averaging, well under 4 million. So let's even say if you said, hey, I'm at 3 million, I'm at about the 46th percentile there, right about there with everybody else. So really interesting data, very, very quickly, that gives you a snapshot. And what's pretty cool, it also gives you a nice little heat map here to see where those average business annual revenue dollars are, again, in our region. And here's one thing I love about the tool, because it walks you through it in a really thoughtful way and kind of helps you answer those questions as you go along. It's really nice. It clarifies considerations, and then it also lets you dig in. Are you a startup or are you an established business? So as an established business, it at least gives you some thought points here to think about, using the competitor map, how you can actually use this data. So I really like that, because when I see a lot of big random data, you kind of, the best way to use data is to start with a good question. And if you're just looking at random data on the front side, it's really hard to know what to do. All right, so, and you're wondering, are the metrics based on others who are actively participating in this tool? This is national data. This is data that's being reported through things like Info USA, other things. So you're right, it is not just in this tool. And that's a great question, and that's really important. This is actually real business data that's being collected from a myriad of different national, regional, and state sources. So as you can see, you could compare things from years started to even salaries. So if we want to think about employees, I have no idea how many employees you all have, so I'm taking a guess, unless you want to throw it out there. But I'm going to say you've got 10 or so employees. Oh, look at me, not a terrible guess. So again, when you think about average revenue, average organization size, how do you compare to others in the region that are doing similar type work? So again, it stacks you up a little bit more. And then thinking about salaries, I'm just going to put in a nice round 50,000. And again, this is an annual worker salary. The reason this is really beneficial and helpful to line up to other industries is giving you an idea. Are you having issues? Okay. And so it's saying there's really not enough data, which can happen if we don't have a wide enough range. So, that's one piece. It depends on the depth of your industry. So if we did take this and we changed this number and looked at some others that have a really, really, strong industry cluster or an expansive one, you might get better data on that side. Again, so it really kind of lines you up here looking at other businesses, and you can look at things like revenue per capita. And one of the other interesting ones as you continue to scroll down is even a little bit more about local turnover rates in general in the market. And right now it's looking at building equipment contractors, which it's finding is the closest to mechanical contractors in industries that have enough data in our market. All right, so I'm going to take us back up just to make sure that we demonstrate all of these really quickly in the time allotted. So that's looking at your business and comparing to competitors. So now if you want to look at competition, this is where you can find customers, suppliers, and other competitors in the area. So for the first thing it's going to give you automatically is a list of businesses that might compete with you, because the database is identifying other businesses that are in a similar industry cluster. So do any of these, Shasta, we're putting the data on trial here right now. Do any of these look like ones that you would think about, that you would go, yeah, that makes sense?
So it's pretty small.
Yeah, you do have a small market, so it does challenge the data in that standpoint.
Oh no, I was talking about the print. Like, see
oh,
the
I'm
screen.
sorry. So we've got Ashcraft, Trinity, Mechanical Concepts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. All right. Well, there you go. So now you're seeing competitors in the market. Now, one of the other things I do want to show everybody, because I've had people ask in terms of looking at competitor information, can you look at stuff outside our market? And you can. So this is a cool little trick here. You can start zooming out and you can even go and take a look and see what's going on. For example, over in Gallup, Mechanical Southwest is there. And if you want, you can even just continue across the US. So this is really interesting. I think when Gabriela was talking about they're helping, businesses thinking about working in other markets, this is a free data tool where you can look at competitors in those other markets that maybe you want to do some export to, maybe expand some of your offices or offerings to. So again, this is really just for demonstration purposes today, but pretty cool. The other thing that you could do, if you knew there was an industry that was closely aligned, you could continue to add additional industries in your cluster here to till the cows come home, and keep layering them in and adding more data. What's really cool at this point is you can go, okay, great, I've got all this, and you can just hit one button, and I'm not sure is it showing a report now, or is it just showing that main screen? It may not be showing the actual report. I'd have to swap the screen, but what it actually does is it gives you a really cool printable. You know what? I'm actually gonna change this share so you can see what I'm seeing, because I think it's a really cool report.
We could see it.
Oh, we could. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, but this is a really nice report because it's also, letting you print this out. So if you're thinking about applications like, I want to use this for a business plan, for example, really, really helpful in that regard. Okay, so I'm just going to get us back really quickly and go back to the SizeUp page. So hopefully you guys are seeing me right back here. Cool. Okay, so that's a little bit about the competition. You can also look at suppliers and competitors. So again, if you know what types of supply you're looking for or other things, you can plug them right in there and start layering them all into this same map. I think that's pretty interesting. Is there any certain type of, again, keeping Shasta on the platform, are there any specific types of businesses that you would look at for customers?
Education.
Okay, great. So let's do add businesses that may buy with you. So it's going to pull, I'm typing in education just because that's a blanket word, but there's interesting education retirement board. If you wanted to do Albuquerque public schools.
There you go.
There we go. Public schools. There we go. So you can plug that in there and also see where they're located. And again, you can zoom back in. Some of these things are really good when you're starting to think about locations, trajectory, and information. And it's nice because it gives you a little quick URL as well to any business. All right, so I'm going to fly us through and bring us to the end here really quickly just on this demo. If you want to think about advertising, now you guys, I don't know if Miller Bonded really does a lot of advertising. Do you guys do that, or are you more of a B2B word of mouth?
Kind of a word of mouth thing, looking at some advertising, but currently not doing anything actively.
Currently not actively. So this could be a way to really dig into some extremely targeted advertising. And I would say, it's probably something I'd spend at least about 20 minutes digging around on this for in the future. But what you could look for is it's talking to you based on total revenue and giving you other parameters in the region in terms of total revenue for your competitors. So if these are the areas where they're making a lot of money, you may want to look in that location. Another thing you could filter in is let's look at underserved markets. And again, think about this application. Gabriela, what are some of the businesses you've worked with lately? Can you think of any, what they do or what they've been, what kind of services they're offering?
Sure. So let's see. I was just having a conversation yesterday with an individual that's thinking about doing coffee importing.
I'm sorry, you said coffee importing?
Yeah. Cool. So importing, so like green whole bean wholesale from different countries in Africa.
Wonderful. Well, so this is when I just swapped mechanical contractors to most underserved markets. So you can also see who's going to be the most underserved. So what areas are spending the least amount? So again, that might be an area where you want to look at advertising. So again, when you think about that, you could also apply this to, and this is a nice thing, if you're in one area while you're in the tool, you could easily change your place to your industry you're looking at really quickly. So coffee. So let's say coffee and tea wholesale, just as an example. You could look at that very quickly and you could look at your underserved market. So what's funny is it looks like there's not necessarily underserved markets here locally in the Albuquerque area for that. But what we could look at are, let's see, total revenue. And let me get back into New Mexico. I don't know why it's zooming out like that for me, actually. Let's pull right back in and look at that.
There's one company. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah, well, it's showing me. Yeah, I might be using it a little bit inappropriately. And this is where your this is where your operator error starts to show your full value. But let's look at the distance here. There we go. So for some reason I had clicked on that and I had made our search distance just really exceptionally big. I got a little crazy there. So again, looking at coffee and tea wholesale in this market, you can zoom in a little bit. You can understand what's going on. And again, if you really want to look at, differences in annual revenue, total annual revenue, or even employees, you can tweak all of these things to get a better sense of the best places to advertise, again, based on all these different parameters. So, but again, maybe if you're in coffee and tea wholesale, maybe you don't want to think about total revenue. Maybe you want to think about, again, most underserved markets. If you were in a coffee shop, you might want to think about household income, right? Because if you're trying to do a really high-end coffee and tea shop, you want to find a place that's got a really, a higher household income that is also underserved. So this is where these data sets can start layering on top of one another in your analysis to really, really pinpoint a fine-tuned area. I want a place where people have money to spend, and I also want to make sure that they're not already over inundated with this type of service. All right, and so last but not least, just to round up our little demo here, demographics, and this gets really, really robust, and you can do it a lot of different ways. So right now we've been looking in Albuquerque, let's just say for kicks, and since let's just say we want to look in Rio Rancho. You can do that as well. You can do it from the city side. You can look at demographics, consumer expenditures, or labor force. Let's say I want to know, what are people spending in Rio Rancho? I'm really curious how they're spending their money. So I can do that. And what's pretty cool is I can, again, zoom back into what's going on up here. And let's say I'm really interested in, I don't know, let's say, food at home, or let's say food away from home. Again, let's maybe think about this from a restaurant standpoint. Food away from home and what are people spending? And this is going to give you a heat map of what they're spending in different areas. Again, it's a large heat map in terms of this region, but it also allows you to understand what's going on in terms of the sales of that area. Now, you can look at it as well as from the county or the metro area, or what's kind of cool is you can look within a boundary. So, and this is where it gets, I think, to me, a little bit more helpful for local services like that. So if I want to zoom in a little bit more, you can actually, within a boundary, I'm going to just kind of draw this because I go, maybe I want to pull in Sandia Heights, but I don't want to go all the way down to the city, and I want to grab this part of Rio Rancho. What this is going to now show you is data associated with that area and that border, which is pretty cool if you think that that's a region that you're going to be serving. So again, if you're servicing books and supplies to folks, you can see that you're getting about $222 average per household in that area. And yet again, you can, there we go, you're getting a little bit of a heat map. So what's interesting as well is looking in that area, there's a higher concentration up here in this kind of northwest area of what we drew than even kind of in more central around the 25, which I think makes sense to probably everybody knowing what we know about the community and the different uses on the ground there. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of an idea of what you can learn. Again, it gets very, very robust, but you can look at that. You can also look at, let's do reset our selection. And again, let's look back at the demographics here. One more time, just want to refresh this. Make sure I'm looking at it clean and not looking at previous data. Let my browser do the work. All right, get back in there. And I'm going to go into these cool demographics and just show you how you can learn a little bit more as well about, and let's just even look at Bernalillo County. And again, this will work for any of the 4 counties in our region. And again, I want to look at a demographics overview because I'm really interested a little more in who's living here and what's going on with all of them. Zoom back into your area so you can see what's going on. And these are all little toggle buttons that you can turn on. And what's also cool, and I'll just use the age distribution one here. You can do a little bar chart. So if you want to look at the data in a different way, to me, the visual stuff is so much easier to conceptualize than just the general raw data here. This is just more fun. But what this allows you to do is toggle which ones you want to look at. So if all you really care about are the demographics and kind of the working age population, you can do that and do them one at a time. Or again, you can look at your full bar chart. You can look now. And what's also cool is it gives you a projection of what's going on in the future. So you can get a sense of those at least anticipated demographic changes. You can look at racial distribution. Maybe you have, an ethnic food store or something like that that's really trying to target a certain audience or, a certain type of household. And again, you can continue down the line with all of this. You can look at labor force statistics. And even if you're looking for an area that has a certain educational attainment for a certain service you're providing, you can pull that down as well. So I know it's a lot of data. It's a crazy amount to cram into a 20-minute demo, but we really want everyone to look at this, start thinking about questions to ask and different ways you could apply this data. Even again, just understanding the demographics and the growth and the expenditures in a market, as well as different ways to find competitors and suppliers, and even start some of those small B2B conversations. So with that, Shasta, I want to thank you for letting us put you on the spot. I do hope this was helpful and interesting. And I know we certainly don't have time to do a full comprehensive business planning report, but I hope you'll poke around more.
I look forward to it. And thank you so much for the demonstration, Danielle.
Awesome. Great. Well, with that, if anybody has any other live Q&A that they want to share with us or any comments or thoughts, throw them out. But otherwise, I really, Gabriela, I really appreciate you coming on. I learned a lot about what you all are doing at the center and really appreciate it. Any closing comments from you?
Just thank you for having us, and happy National Small Business Week.
Absolutely.
Look forward to, connecting with many minority-owned companies here in Albuquerque and beyond. And excited to really encourage more of our businesses to use this great tool. I actually had a question about the tool itself. So when you look at the competitors, you just see a list, or can you see more data about the competitors?
You can dig into those competitors, and on each one of them learn more about those companies. Yes.
Awesome.
Great question.
Great.
Absolutely. You can actually click on them. You can get their website. It'll show you whether they're privately or publicly owned, how long they've been in business, etc.
Okay, awesome.
Really helpful. Yeah, great question. Absolutely. A list is nice, but the more data, the better. Cool. All right. Well, with that, thank you so much. One thing I do want to plug today, next Thursday, and this is free to anyone if they want to join on the live broadcast, which we will publish on our website, but we ask folks to register to receive that link. This is going to be next Thursday. It's going to be a hybrid event. So we're going to be live broadcasting from a small audience. So we do have limited seating at that. If you're interested in coming in person, I think we have just a couple more seats. And that's going to be up at El Pinto, or you can watch it from the comfort of your work from home or office or beach or wherever you happen to be, since work from home has allowed so much flexibility. This is a really cool partnership we've done with CBRE. It's a report that we've done. I mean, it's 40 plus pages, really talking in depth about the talent opportunities, about the educational opportunities and partners we have in our market, as well as just really a case for the region for business. And we also have a really wonderful national speaker with CBRE's National Incentive Group talking. He's a really big draw in the commercial real estate world. So he's going to say share some really big insights nationally with us. And we also have 2 expanding businesses in the market that are going to talk. So definitely consider registering for that. And then I think we have one other thing we wanted to mention to everybody, which is that we have an ambassadors training program. And I am asking our team to open this up to anyone that wants to learn more about what AED is doing and the work that we do and why we do it and how we operate. So please register for that. This is a training program that our ambassadors of investor companies attend, and then they also do additional things to engage with us to become certified ambassadors and really big proponents of economic development in the region. So with that, I hope you'll come to these. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everybody for coming today. And if you want to go to that events page, I believe that QR code will take you right there if you hold your camera up. So thanks so much and have a wonderful afternoon. And have a great, as Gabriela said, National Small Business Week.